somebody asked you to do a film about wheat.
You've done your homework.
I actually watched some YouTube videos about it.
Are they?
There are. You didn't know.
You're kidding? Of course, I've never...
Search for you. You're quite fascinating.
Really?
Yeah.
Only quite?
I was super excited when water was being shot here. I have to be honest, it was not for you. It was for John Abraham. Are you a tough director or a person to deal with when it comes to the work that you do? Or are you like really friendly and people have just got it wrong because your eyeliner is thick?
I can see Brandon, an actor I worked with very hard on Funny Boy, sitting right there. So you can ask him, Brandon, do you think I'm tough? He said, I'm tough. Oh God, I thought I was so nice.
So the press is correct then?
Yeah, I absolutely got it wrong.
I just say it.
Hi guys, and welcome to a very special show. I'm so honored to have someone who is world-renowned. She's a personality, and at the same time, her look is absolutely unique. I have with me a very talented person who loves Sri Lanka as much as we do, the one and only Deepa Mehta. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I love your specs game.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, now I like you.
I have a specs craze too, so I have a
Yeah.
lot of it going. So I wanted to make sure that I had something going good.
No, yours is pretty cool, but I think mine's better.
Oh, yours is 100% better. Yeah, but I love everything about you. I love the fact that you keep your hair this way, and it has been a statement of you for a long time. And we can see a Deepa Mehta from wherever, and that's what's amazing.
Oh, that's lovely. What a nice thing to say.
Oh, thank you. So let me just go back. So I'm not exactly the one. I wanted to speak about you. I'm so happy that Cinnamon Hotels and Cinnamon Properties always bring in some amazing personalities in terms of arts and everything to do with promoting Sri Lanka in the nicest way. And this is an initiative to make Sri Lanka as the hub when it comes to creating beautiful films across the world, and Deepa has already done it. And someone who has been instrumental in making this happen has been Brandon Ingram, who is a part of the Cinnamon brand, and he's also someone who was featured in the film Funny Boy that was out recently. And it's amazing to know that our untapped beautiful spaces of Sri Lanka could become featured in more and more films across the world. As someone who was growing up, your father was a film distributor, I was told, and film was always part of you. And every day after school, was it a movie day?
Every day after school was more or less a movie day. It depended if I'd done my homework. That was the most important. And then I'd ask my mom, can I go with the driver to pick up Dad? The idea was, of course, not picking him up, but sitting in the movie hall and seeing some aspect of a film that I'd seen about 80 times.
Right.
So yes, every day was a movie day.
And your English movie was a once-a-week treat.
My God, you've done your homework.
I have. I do my gossip homework, not about how established and brilliant you are, that we all know. So I just wanted to speak about other things. So how were you when you were growing up? Were you mischievous? Were you someone who was, you were very good with your homework on time, making sure that you had good grades in school? Or?
Are you kidding? No, I wasn't. I mean, I'd like to think I was.
Yeah, me too.
I would like to say that I was naturally bright, but that's not actually true because I had
just
a tutor.
with the lights on.
Yeah, it sounds good. But I was okay in school. I wasn't brilliant.
Yeah.
I loved table tennis for some crazy reason because I could never play it. It was one of the things. I was never sporty.
Yeah.
So table tennis seemed okay because it was a table and it was just, you didn't have to do too much. But
you just move around
the table. You just move around a little
Yeah.
bit and hit the ball if you can. But never sporty. So in my school, which was a boarding school, you had to be really sporty to get some kind of recognition. You had to be good at, I don't know, basketball or running.
Yeah.
Running was a big thing. And whenever game time used to arrive in the boarding school, I'd always find a way of going and hiding somewhere and with a book.
Right.
I was a bookish person.
Oh, brilliant. That's good. That goes with you as well, I think.
Well, I didn't.
The book look.
Book was very. I mean, I remember, reading a picture of Dorian Gray when I was like 12, underneath the physics table, and and the and the master, our games master, is looking all over me. So I did really badly with sports.
Yeah, I understand. Sports is only for those who would like to just, just burn in the sun. That's not my thing as well. Yeah. So you have seen the world through a lens, and you have been someone who has never enjoyed being in front of the camera, but behind, telling stories through your work. Out of all the stories that you have made, there was a reason why you were put here to create these stories. Your films are not the typical films that we would like to go watch. Your films give us something to go back and think about, remember, and there's always a reason behind those. What made you move into cinema that was so meaningful?
Perhaps because I didn't think of it as meaningful. I mean, when I decided to do the first film that I did, I didn't feel that I was doing something that was meaningful. It was a film called Sam and Me, and I just moved to Canada, and I was struggling with being an immigrant and what an immigrant meant and what a colored immigrant meant in a white country. And so I worked on a film called Sam and Me, which is about immigration. Can an immigrant ever belong? Can we ever be hyphenated people? Indo-Canadian or Indo-American or whatever. And that's what drove me. It's always that something that concerns me or I'm curious about. That's the reason I make the films. I never feel that I'm making something insightful. So perhaps it's a desire to learn more. Curiosity is the big thing for me.
Yeah. I was super excited when Water was being shot here. I have to be honest, it was not for you. It was for John Abraham.
At least you're honest.
I am very honest. I wanted to just swim in the same lake, but that didn't happen.
I think the many did.
I know. I actually once when I went to India, I tweeted saying, "Hey, I'm here if you want to meet me." Of course, he didn't respond, but that's a different story. But do tell him.
I will tell him.
I'm just 20 years late, but it's okay.
No.
But we're getting to a break. When we do come back, I'm going to speak about how she got into filmmaking or a job that she tried to do. It's quite an interesting story. I have heard a bit of it, and I really want to hear it from her after this.
I just say it.
Welcome back to the show. We needed a cup of coffee. That's why we took the break. We're back.
We're back because you're a tough interviewer. That's why we needed a break.
Yes, that makes it sound so much more cooler.
It is cool. It's cool.
So you once worked as a receptionist and you got fired in a week because your hospitality was amazing.
In 2 days.
Oh, in 2 days? That's a record, I must say. You were absolutely warm and friendly, apparently, when everyone walked in.
I was so friendly. I was so nice that they couldn't bear it.
And they got rid of you, and somebody asked you to do a film about wheat.
You've done your homework.
Thanks.
What happened was...
I actually watched some YouTube videos about it.
Are there?
There are. You didn't know.
You're kidding? Of course, I've never...
Search for you. You are quite fascinating.
Really?
Yeah.
Only quite?
Well, you are.
No, I'm not just fishing for compliments. No, it wasn't like that. I was waiting to get into next course that I wanted to do in university, and a very dear friend of mine had a documentary house in Delhi, and they made small documentaries for the Ministry of Family Planning and agriculture. So, and their receptionist was very needed. It was a very small company, but like I think of 5 people. Went on maternity leave or something. So Anil, who owned the thing, asked me, he said, "Can you help us out and answer the phone?" And I said, "Sure," And apparently I was so bad at it that after 2 days, Anil said, "Deepa, I think quit because this is not working at all." And I said, "Okay, I tried, Anil." He said, "Listen, while you're here, why don't you learn how to do cinematography from, what's his name, Arashia, and Leila will teach you how to cut films." She was the editor, and in Steenbeck's those days. And I said, "Sure," So I started doing it, and I fell in love with it. So he said, "Okay, now time for you to do your first film, direct it." So I couldn't believe it. I said, "This is really cool." And he said, I said, "What's the film?" He said, "Go go outside Delhi, about 20 miles outside Delhi, and there's a farmer there, and do a 3-minute film on how wheat grows. And I said, what? So I said,
Starring
okay,
wheat.
yeah, right. So I remember so distinctly going there and not knowing. I mean, what are you going to do? Wheat growing. There's this sweet farmer sitting on a charpoy, smoking his hookah, and staring at his field. And there's, of course, nothing's growing and won't for another 8 months. So I thought maybe the film should be about him waiting
For the wheat.
for the wheat. And that was what a 3-minute film was about. This guy who's so sweet, smoking his hookah, and after like 5 minutes of shooting, he got so bored with me, and he said, "Would you like to try some?" So I said, "No, I don't think that's cool." But it was an amazing experience of my life, because I learned about interpretation, and it wasn't till much later I realized that it was a very important lesson, and how we can interpret what we are expected to do, and it depends on us.
That is true. Touching taboo subjects and touching subjects that people will not like to speak about in broad daylight or out there and be like, oh, what is wrong with Deepa doing movies like this and just trying to keep the culture going so nice and clean. But you went there, you broke things with fire, you spoke about love that can blossom and bloom from anywhere. And at the time when it was released, it was not even this amount of conversation was made on subjects that were so sensitive. How was the experience? And I'm sure, yes, there was an uprise and there was conversation that was negative, but yet you would have touched and given hope and a feeling of joy to so many. What was that experience, like listening to them speak to you?
It was about, firstly, let's talk about the motivation of making Fire. It wasn't, what drove me wasn't that there are no films that I've seen that are about lesbians in India. Not at all. What it was for me was growing up in a joint family. I don't know if you have that here in Sri Lanka, but with my father's older brother and his wife and his family, my mother and her kids and us, we all lived in one house together.
We're joined by the hip.
Okay. So you know what it's all about.
They like to know information, but they don't exactly live under the same roof.
We did. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking about years ago.
Yeah.
It was about my mother and her sister-in-law were really very close. They were very good friends, and that was unusual. And when my father and his brother would have a fight, my aunt would say, "Let's not pay any attention to them, and let's go and have chart. Chart is a whatever." And I thought, when I grew up, I thought how wonderful their relationship was. They were really true friends and support to each other. And I thought that if that relationship had turned into a physical one, so emotion evolving into a physical relationship, evolving into love of a different sort, how would they be? So that was the basis of writing Fire. And when the hangama, what we call nonsense, happened in India, and they said there are no lesbians in India, and they trashed all the movie halls, etc., I remember very distinctly being called for a protest that was going to happen out in Connaught Place, which is the center of Delhi, and outside the movie hall that had been trashed. And somebody called me and they said they're having a protest, and would I come? And I said, absolutely, I'll be there. And I went there, and I couldn't believe my eyes, because as far as I could see, there were women and men holding placards that said, "We are lesbians and we are Indian." So, then it just hits you that somehow a door has opened.
Correct.
Which I didn't do the film for opening doors. I did it purely for a personal reason. Because I thought it was an important thing, that what happens. But the government denying that there are no lesbians in 1.5 billion people, that there were all these women, and like I said, holding placards that said, we are lesbians and we are Indian. That was a moment I will never forget.
That is true. It made conversations. It gave people the hope to speak, whatever their interest may be. And I think that was a groundbreaking film, more than what you saw on screen. The impact and the ripple effect it created, and I think that will stay as a testament of its time. We need to get into a break. When we do come back, we're going to speak about, I have been told that she's really tough. Yeah.
I'm really nice.
That's what. That's exactly. I have to. In the last 15 minutes of knowing you,
Yeah.
you are very nice.
There you go.
Just bad press. We'll see you after break.
I just say it.
Welcome back to the show, in conversation with the one and only Deepa Mehta. And I wanted to speak about, are you a tough director or a person to deal with when it comes to the work that you do? Or are you like really friendly and people have just got it wrong because your eyeliner is thick?
I can see Brandon, an actor I worked with very hard on Funny Boy, sitting right there. So
Yeah.
you can ask him. Brandon, do you think I'm tough? He said,
Tough.
I'm tough. Oh,
Yeah.
God. I thought I was so nice.
So the press is correct then.
Yeah, I absolutely got it wrong.
Well, for now, I must say, I haven't seen the tough side. I'm happy with this. We're good to go like this, right?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. But how are you when you're behind that camera and when you're directing, when you're looking at your artists, bringing those stories to life? And when they muck it up, what do you do?
I'm not that nice then. I have to admit, it's not that I'm mean. I'm just tough.
Yeah.
If something's not working, I want to know why it isn't, and I will listen to them. And if they don't get it, then we'll talk about it. But we don't. What I really insist on before we do any filming is that we do at least 10 days or a week of a film workshop. That's
Right.
not rehearsals. That's understanding characters. So by the time we end up with that, and I have somebody who I work with for years, who's a theatre director in India, her name is Neelam, she does these workshops. And by the end of it, all the characters, I hope, have understood not just what makes them tick. And so nobody till now has said to me on set while we're filming, what's my motivation of having a cup of coffee or whatever. They know what their character would do, and it would surprise me if they didn't. And but sometimes people just don't work that way, and then you ask them to do it your way or the highway. I mean, or whatever.
Fair enough.
I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
No, I would never do that. But it is tough when something doesn't work, and then you have to say it's not working.
Yeah. The latest film that I watched of your work is Funny Boy, and I got a chance to sit with Mudan Naik and watch it with him, who was also another lead in the film, and it was remarkable. A shot that I'll never forget in that film is the transition from that little boy to him becoming an adult, sitting on that tiny little stool and seeing the world differently. And it was a transition between Brandon's face and the little boy's face. And that little shot I'll never forget, because that was very powerful over the fact that how what he was trying to explore within was being it was becoming who he is eventually. And that shot stays very close to my heart. But you touched a very sensitive topic, both spectrums. It could be the sexuality element to it, and also the element of war, and the fact that there was a diverse issue here that was happening in terms of the Sinhalese, the Tamil. There was tension. It's a very touchy subject, and also it's not like recreating a historic piece where we might not have seen or heard of them. It's all just what's written. Here, like my sister was born at that time when this was happening. So it's very current and it's very raw. How was the feedback, and how was it trying to recreate something that is so fresh in people's mind, and also that's something that's so divided when it comes to opinion?
It's not easy because you have to draw the line between what might be considered or what you might consider even exploitative in any ways. The point about film or any art for that matter is that, in fact, I do believe when Toni Morrison said that all art is political. I do believe that all art is political. At least I feel my art is political. And it could be the politics of race or sex or color. Anything that we touch becomes something that somebody else is not going to like, is going to protest about. So that's a given. And to walk that line as much as you can with as much honesty as you can, to be true to the characters and what they're going through, whether it's a civil war, whether it's their sexuality, is a real test even that a director goes through. It's not just the characters. What do you want to say? What do you not want to say? What are you going to, what is even slightly exploitative or dishonest is something that you have to be very careful. I have to be very careful not to go that way. So it's not easy.
Yeah. But I was so happy that stories that could go to the world was shot here. It was done on our soil, and it was remarkable to see.
And it was your story.
Yeah.
It really was. And I feel really, really honored in a way that Shyam Selvadurai, who wrote the book, it's a stunning book, who's half Sinhalese, half Tamil, trusted me with his book. And Sri Lanka trusted me that I wouldn't exploit it. And I got to work with amazing actors. The two leads in the film are from here.
Correct.
And, I don't know, you can cut it if you want to, what I'm about to say. But homosexuality was illegal. I don't know, is it still illegal?
Yes. Legally, it's illegal.
Legally, it's illegal. But, but look at the courage.
Correct. Well, our big house has a lot of people, so they can't actually prison anyone.
No, but that's good. Maybe with the change that's happening in your country, this will also go by the wayside and it'll be accepted the way it is the world over. I mean, it's accepted in India.
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to ask you, for those who are watching, because, as I said, you're big on the internet search. And they might search for Deepa Mehta, and this interview might pop up. And at that moment, if they're watching and thinking, yeah, I need a nice place to shoot my next film, what would you tell them? Why take Sri Lanka as a location?
I've shot 3 films here. I shot Water, which is very, very different than Funny Boy. I've shot Salman Rushdie's, Midnight's Children here, which is 3 generations of people till here. And I shot Funny Boy, which was set here. And Water and Midnight's Children was not set in Sri Lanka. So why did Sri Lanka work is the big question. The reason it worked was that there is something intrinsically malleable about the people that you're going to work with, and they're extremely talented. So So you have your actors and you have your crews who are superb, by the way, and they are going to help you get what you want. But the country itself offers something that no other country that I know of offers. I mean, whether it's been Thailand or in Malaysia, anywhere, which is, it has not only the beautiful beaches and the forests and the tea gardens or whatever, but it has a heartbeat which is so pure. It can be anywhere in the world, because when something is particular is the very minute it becomes universal. Sri Lanka is particular, and in its particularity it becomes universal, which is very rare. So that's why I would recommend, you should, the next time I come, I've got a feeling there are going to be 20 crews from all over the world here, and then I'll have a tough time. But don't forget that I came here first.
Of course. I will move them aside for you. if I have to do it.
I'll
But-
call you on that.
Thank you, thank you. But is there anything coming up, a Deepa production that we can look forward to?
Yeah, David Hamilton, who's my producer and has been my producer for all my films, and myself, we're doing our next film. And we're taking advantage of this amazing hospitality of Cinnamon and Brandon, who I adore. Actually, Brandon's the reason I'm here.
Yeah, I was told.
Yeah, you were told that,
Yeah.
okay.
I figured it.
And no, so we're doing another film called Share, and we're going to take advantage of being here to spend some time with Errol Kelly, who's an amazing production designer, and Gopi, who's a fabulous line producer. Here, right here, to do it. And the lead is, I'm really happy to tell you, is Jeremy Irons, who I adore, who's attached to it. So that'll be really cool.
It's amazing. If you're looking out for a hunk, I'm right here.
I like your eyeliner. Okay, you're done.
Thank you. That's it. That's all I needed. Just that. Just the liner. That's it. The whole thing was not of your use. Just this.
No, the eyeliner did it.
Thank you. You know, I like you for that because we connect on the liner there.
Yes, we certainly do.
Yes. Well, Deepa, it has been absolutely amazing, and I think if we have to speak about all your accomplishment, I think this show is just going to be. People can always just research like how I did, but I wanted to speak to you as you and how you are, and I love the fact that you are here, you embrace Sri Lanka, and there's so much of love that you like to share with this country, and your productions, your storytelling has inspired and really broken those so-called glass ceilings for people to speak about and be proud about who they are. And I think you're more than a storyteller. I think you are someone who will stay in people's mind as someone who made me think different. And
Oh, that's lovely.
thank you, Deepa, for being here with your cool specs, and I wish you a wonderful stay, and I can't wait to see your new productions, and thank you.
Thank you, thank you. That was a lovely interview. I enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, one and only Deepa Mehta saying bye to us on the show, but please do follow her journey. You can do so, and at the same time, just so happy to know that Sri Lanka is on the global map to being chosen as locations and places that people would like to come and see. Let's keep our flag flying high. Just as much as she loves it, we also are so happy that we get a chance to shine as bright as we deserve to be on the world map. On that note, you keep smiling. It's a wrap on our side.